So I wasn't planning on making any videos relating to Twin Peaks, this new Twin Peaks, until it had all finished and I'd have time to rewatch it again. However, I just wanted to make this video, these thoughts, how I'm feeling just at the end of this. In the finale, I'll mention things of course, but I've literally just watched it and not everything is in my mind. I can't recall every single thing that did happen. I'll go into that later down the line when I go into my full thoughts on the whole season. So basically, Twin Peaks The Return is now over. And we have a conclusion. Do we have a conclusion? The thing is, I really don't think we do. There are people out there who I think are extreme defenders of David Lynch, in that they don't want to admit that basically this isn't a conclusion to the season, because they think Lynch can do no wrong. Now, I'll admit, I think David Lynch is a genius. He is my favourite director. I absolutely adore his work, and I absolutely adore his work on this new season. But to say that this is a conclusion to the season is just, it's totally wrong. I think people don't want to... I think people don't understand that there is a chance that there can be a new season. And the thing that kind of worries me is the fact that with the negative response to this finale, what are the chances of there actually being a new season? I don't know. Because certainly there's not going to be the same excitement for a new season after what this Twin Peaks The Return has been like. Because even from the premiere, this season has got some negative response, with people saying that this is just not being the Twin Peaks that they want. So I don't know. I think there will be another season, and the reason why I think there would be another season is because people should know that when Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me was made, there were supposed to be sequels to that, and some of the plot points of this new season are basically plot points that were going to be in movies that were going to follow Fire Walk with Me, but that never went down because of the response that that film got. And will the same thing happen here? I don't know. And if it never happens, I mean, could it be argued that this whole season was entirely pointless? I don't think so. I don't think it was entirely pointless if there's never going to be another season, because with everything we got, there was a lot of really good stuff. It was a fun ride, and I think it was a fun ride pretty much up until episode 17. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure that at the beginning of part 18 we do have Dougie coming back with his family, and that's something which was just brilliant to see, because I think the Jones storyline throughout this season has been an interesting one. We've been stuck with this Dale Cooper, which is not being him at all. He's just hardly a person, really. And then he's with this family who think he's someone else, and you know, they're still happy in his presence, and then he comes back as actual Dale. I find it was a very moving scene, it was, you know, the fact that he had to leave them. But what he did say is that he'll be back, and Dougie comes back. The real Dougie comes back. And that was that. I thought that was nice. We got a nice conclusion to that. Nice happy conclusion. And in part 17, we do have some nice conclusions as well. See, the doppelganger Dale, he gets shot by Lucy, but then he starts getting resurrected again, or at least he does start to get resurrected again by those seemingly lodged spirits, the woodsmen, which are new to this season. But then it doesn't really go anywhere. He doesn't wake up again like he did in part 8, and then just everyone starts coming in, and everything seems to be all good. You know, Freddy, he wiped out Bob with the magic glove that he has, which I will admit was a little bit silly. I think maybe if we had Frank Silva around, and it wasn't in the case of it was just a ball, you know, he'd actually have a physical force to fight against, maybe it'd be a bit better. But even still, just the fact that he actually has to fight this thing with his magic glove, it's a bit weird, and not the sort of interesting sort of Lynchian weird. I just thought it was a bit silly, really. But everything is concluding. You know, we got Night Out, the eyeless woman turns out to be Diane. The real Diane, she's got red hair now instead of the white hair she had for the rest of this season. And she's also obviously a lot friendlier. And everything seems to be kind of going well. It's all going good, nice. But then when Dale and Diane, they go into, I don't really know where it's going then after that, because I feel after a certain point Dale isn't even himself anymore. I feel like the way he acts in that diner, and even facial expressions wise, he's very, very odd. There's something about him which just really reminds me of the doppelganger Dale. And I was kind of wondering, is it actually him? Or is Dale back or not? And I just felt very uncomfortable in part 18. One thing which we did get a conclusion of sorts to was what we got in the opening scene of this premiere. We had the giant speaking to Dale, and something he said to him was to remember Richard and Linda 430. And 430 is basically what we have with the amount of miles he has to go to get to this certain point. And it's at this certain point which he just really changes then. And then the Richard and Linda thing, we have a note written by Linda to Richard. I mean, people are saying that there's this idea that Diane and Dale have actually become Richard and Linda, which seems to make sense in a way, but at the same time you do have Dale reading the letter and not understanding it, so I don't know really what to make of it. But at the same time, it's still a conclusion of sorts, or a follow-up more so, rather than a conclusion to that opening scene of this season. And yeah, from then, Dale finds the diner, which is Judy's, and then he's looking for a waitress there that would be called Judy. She's not there. He finds the address. Before finding the person who lives there, it says on the electricity pole, the number 6 is there. And I found this particularly odd, because earlier on, I can't remember if it was in part 18 or part 17, when Dale's being brought to the place known above the convenience store, and he's speaking with Philip Jeffries. The owl cave symbol, it turns into an 8, and so what would make sense is that on the electricity pole, rather than a 6, you'd have an 8. But we have a 6. So right there, you really see that things are a bit weird. I mean, Dale certainly acts weird in the diner, the way he deals with those men, and even just his whole mannerisms, like with the being given the coffee, he doesn't respond to that at all. Whereas he was very enthusiastic about the coffee, like earlier on in part 17, and just obviously Dale and coffee, that's his thing. But yeah, so he goes up to the house. Things are just not right. The door opens, and we have an older Laura Palmer. It was part of Dale's mission, at least from part 2, from Leland, and actually there's a bit of that in this part as well, to find Laura, and he's supposed to bring her to our house. And so he does that. He goes to Twin Peaks, he goes to the house. This person, known as Carrie Page, I believe this character's name is, who looks like Laura, she doesn't recognise Twin Peaks, she doesn't recognise the house, but they go up to the house, and then Sarah Palmer is not there. But who is there is someone who will find out to be Alice Tremont. And the people that lived before this Alice Tremont were known as the Chalfonts, which was a very interesting connection I found, to the original series and Firewalk with Me. There's that old woman and her grandson who lived near Harold Smith, who Donna visits on the Meals on Wheels. They are in Firewalk with Me as well, but it's in that one that they're known as the Chalfonts. And of course, Carl Rod mentions that before they stayed there were other people who called the Chalfonts as well, so there were 2 Chalfonts. And yeah, so it was a nice connection there of sorts. So Dale and Carrie, they leave, and then Dale just wonders, what year is this? Then we have a calling out by Sarah shouting Laura, after which Carrie screams, and then the episode ends, and so does this season. We get that scene from, again, earlier on in this season, Laura whispering something into Dale's ear, which crops up again in this finale. But still, we don't know what she said to him. Of course, in the original series, the last time we had Laura whispering something into Dale's ear, we did find out what that was. But here, we still don't know what it's all about. We don't know what was going on there. And I think that's just one of the things which shows that there is more to this story that's yet to be told. How it all makes sense in the end, everything that was going on. It's clear that with Dale trying to save Laura on the night that she was killed, which I'll just admit was awesome. It was awesome to see that night again, but then on this whole sort of different perspective, with Dale being there and sort of without Laura going to Jacques and Leo, she follows Dale. But then she gets taken away. I'm not really sure where she's going there. I'm not really sure where she's being taken away to. She's not Carrie there. She's not being taken away from that place and being put into the place of Carrie. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. But it seems, yes, that in a way that with taking Laura away from this event of the fact that she's supposed to be killed on this night, history has been changed, and where they are now at the end is just in an alternate reality of sorts. Or is this a new time period? I don't really know. Dale does ask, what year is it? So it could be another year, but it does seem possible as well, the whole thing of, you know, they changed time. And again, nice, going back to the first episode, we have Pete, and he actually does go out fishing, because Laura is not there. So he doesn't see her wrapped in plastic. She's just been taken out of that. So really, I think this is a case of too many plot points that actually genuinely need to be resolved for this to be a conclusion. Even from the whole season, there are plot points from this season which just didn't go anywhere. I think the biggest thing really which didn't go anywhere is the mystery of the glass box, which was something from the beginning I thought was awesome. It had a great ominous atmosphere to it, and I was thinking when I first saw it, I didn't want there to be a big mystery and finding out really what it was all about. But at this point, I kind of do want some sort of a follow on from that. At least a little bit more. Because that's what I wanted. Even though I wanted it to stay mysterious, I wanted just a little bit more information as to what was going on there. Then there's Shelley's daughter, Becky. Her and Stephen, their escapades. That was nothing. That didn't go anywhere. I mean, I would say, like, in this season, that was most definitely my least favorite storyline. I don't really enjoy their scenes much. I don't know, there wasn't really much I got from that, and even now, still, it's just like, it's even more meaningless. What you could also say is Richard Horne, Audrey's son, who died, but also by the way he went out, it sort of looks like that he maybe didn't die, he was just maybe brought somewhere else. I don't know, maybe. I just sort of feel with the way that his character was going, there was a lot of stuff going on with his character this season. For him just to disappear like that, and that's the end of his character, it's a bit anticlimactic. I mean, if that's it, then okay, then it's just an anticlimactic end for his character. But I think really just in connection of just Audrey Horne there, I think it's maybe even a bigger thing which should be brought up, is that Audrey Horne in this season, yeah, there was, she appeared in just a few episodes this season, and the last episode she appeared in, it was in this dream space. She woke up somewhere, and that's it. There's just not enough there to make anything out of. Like, to make something out of what Audrey's story means, you're just kind of putting in information that just is not there, and there's nothing to support anything there. It just, that is an unresolved story right there, as is this season. Now, one thing which I think would be kind of interesting to see is that Mark Frost is going to have a follow-up to his book, The Secret History of Twin Peaks. Pretty good book, worth a read, called The Final Dossier. This book's going to be coming out in early November, from what I've read, and it's, I think, basically going to tell us a lot of what was going on in the past 25 years, that in the lead up to this new season. But will it explain some things that have happened like at the end? I don't think so. I think that will be saved for a new season. But I think The Secret History of Twin Peaks has a bit more relevance now after this season. With this idea of an alternate reality, I think it really becomes relevant, because if you have read this book, you will know that there are inconsistencies in it with the original series, and just there are things in it which are clearly wrong, There's one thing in it which mentions how Pete Martell, he's not a chess player, he plays checkers, and it kind of really makes a point of that. Like, no, he doesn't play chess, he plays checkers. Like, and the fact that it really draws attention to that really makes me believe that, like, okay, something is kind of wrong here. This is definitely not how it is. And could it be the case that where this was written, it was written in some sort of alternate reality of sorts? Where, I mean, certainly there are a lot of things that do match up. And there are even some references to this book in the new season. Like the whole meeting of Dale and Garland Briggs. That actually happens in this book. Sort of. And it doesn't really happen, it's sort of, the lead up to it happens, like, it's sort of just like, he appears at the house and then that's it, and the conversation that they have, it doesn't mention what they talk about or anything. But yeah, and also Tammy Preston basically features in this book as well, although she's named Tamara Preston in this book. Clearly the same person. But some of the things she talks about makes you wonder, when was she reading the dossier that was that's put together in this? I don't know. There is just so much mystery now. There was a lot of mystery going into this season, and we're still left in mystery. If there is a new season of Twin Peaks, when will it be? Not another 25 years. Probably not. That would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. I mean, even if it was something like 5 years, that would be a little bit ridiculous. But I don't think we're going to get a new season next year. I don't think it's going to come anytime soon if we get a new one. But I really think we are going to get one, because like I said, there is too much that is unresolved here, that you can't just leave it like that. You just can't. When the last season, like 26 years ago, like that ended on a cliffhanger, and people wanted a resolution to that for so long, and then they got a new season, but then this is on a cliffhanger as well. It's just like, you can't do that again. I mean, you just can't. So to conclude, we are basically in the same place we were 26 years ago. Left screaming at the screen, what? That's the ending? Yes. That was literally my reaction. Thing ended and I was at the wall wondering, that's what you ended like? But we are going to get answers to this. And as of right now, Twin Peaks The Return is just this weird thing, which overall I love. I can't say I hated this season, because that would be completely untrue. But at the same time, I think its actual last episode, Part 18, is not something I can say I love, because basically I don't know what's going to happen next. So it's all a lead up to nothing. You know, like the thing with Lynch of having these slow builds, but they do have a purpose. But here there's a slow build to nothing. Just a build up to more mystery. It's frustrating, but at the end of the day we need to realise that we are going to get a new season. Nothing has been said as of right now that there is going to be a new season. It's been said nowhere, but there is going to be a new season. There just has to be. When the news breaks that there's going to be a new season, it's not going to surprise me. This news could break it any time this year, next year, the year after that. It could happen at any time. Out of nowhere it could happen. But it's going to happen. It is going to happen. So yeah, thanks for watching this bit of a rambly review, but that is kind of the state I'm at just after watching that finale. I will be back again to talk about more Twin Peaks in the future. I don't know when exactly I'll make my series review, talking about the whole season. And when the final dossier comes out, I would like to give my thoughts on that, and basically how that affects this new season as well. So yeah, look forward to those new videos if you like this video. And I'll see you guys next time.